If you drive in the UK and you have not checked your medical records with the DVLA in the last 12 months, you could be sitting behind the wheel with an invalid license right now and not even know it. Thousands of drivers have already lost their licenses this year. Thousands more are facing fines of up to £1,000. And if you rely on a blue badge or disability transport, there are changes rolling out this year that could either save you hundreds of pounds or catch you completely off guard. Stay with me for the next few minutes because I am going to walk you through exactly what has changed in 2026, what you need to report, what you might be entitled to, and how to make sure you are not caught out. Let us start with the biggest issue, and that is medical conditions and your driving license. The DVLA has always required drivers to report certain medical conditions that could affect their ability to drive safely. That is not new. What is new in 2026 is how seriously this rule is now being enforced. Officials have confirmed that more than 30,000 driving licenses have been revoked or refused renewal over the past 4 years because of health conditions, and eyesight problems alone account for a huge share of that number. Vision issues remain one of the biggest concerns for road safety officials, and there is now serious discussion about introducing mandatory eyesight testing for drivers aged 70 and over, because the current system of simply self-reporting is seen as not strict enough. So what exactly counts as a notifiable medical condition? The list is long, and the DVLA says there are more than 180 conditions that could affect your ability to drive and therefore need to be reported. This includes epilepsy and other conditions that cause seizures, diabetes, especially if it is treated with insulin, heart conditions, strokes, Parkinson's disease and other neurological disorders, sleep apnea, extreme daytime sleepiness, and any condition that significantly affects your eyesight. Even long-term fatigue or brain fog linked to long COVID has been highlighted as something that should be flagged if it affects your concentration or reaction time behind the wheel. If your doctor tells you that a condition or a medication could impact your driving, the responsibility is on you to inform the DVLA. It is not optional, and it is not something you can quietly ignore. Here is the part that catches people out. A lot of drivers assume that reporting a condition automatically means losing their license. In the vast majority of cases, that is simply not true. Most people who report a condition are able to keep driving on a regular license, or they are issued what is called a medical license, which looks almost identical to a standard license, but comes with specific codes showing any conditions or restrictions. These medical licenses typically need to be renewed every 1, 2, 3, or 5 years depending on the condition, so the DVLA can check that things remain stable. The real danger is not in reporting your condition. The real danger is in not reporting it. If you fail to disclose a condition that should have been reported and you are involved in an accident, the consequences can be severe. You are looking at a fine of up to £1,000 simply for the failure to disclose. But if there is an accident involved, you could also face criminal charges. And here is the part that really matters for your wallet. Your car insurance could be treated as invalid. That means if you cause a crash while driving with an unreported medical condition, you could be personally liable for all of the costs that follow, including damage to other vehicles, medical expenses, and legal fees. An undisclosed medical condition does not just risk your license. It risks your entire financial safety net. Now let us talk about older drivers specifically, because this is where a lot of the 2026 changes are concentrated. From March 2026, a revised medical review and license renewal process has been introduced for drivers aged 60 and above. This does not mean every driver over 60 is suddenly being tested. What it means is that reviews are happening earlier and more frequently for drivers who show signs of a health issue that could affect their driving. If the DVLA identifies a concern, they may request a medical report from your GP or a specialist, and depending on what that report says, you could be issued a shorter renewal window, or specific restrictions might be added to your license. The key message here is simple. If you are over 60, keep your contact details updated with the DVLA, keep a record of any vision tests or specialist appointments, and if you know a letter might be coming, speak to your GP early so you are not caught scrambling for paperwork at the last minute. There has also been growing conversation around cognitive health and driving. Doctors and other medical professionals are being encouraged to flag cases where a patient shows signs of cognitive decline that could affect their ability to drive safely, even before a formal diagnosis like dementia has been confirmed. This is a sensitive area, and the government has been clear that the goal is not to strip away anyone's independence unnecessarily. The goal is to catch potential risks early, protect the driver, and protect everyone else on the road. If medical evidence does suggest someone is not fit to drive, the DVLA has the power to impose a temporary suspension while further assessments take place, or in more serious cases, a longer-term revocation. But these decisions are based on evidence, not assumptions, and there are review and appeal processes available if you believe a decision has been made incorrectly. Let us shift now to something a lot of you have been asking about, and that is the Blue Badge scheme and wider disability transport support, because there is genuinely good news here alongside a few things you need to watch. First, the good news. From the 1st of March 2026, the eligibility criteria for the disabled person's railcard expanded significantly. Previously, this railcard was only available to people receiving certain specific benefits or living with clearly defined medical conditions. Now, if you hold a Blue Badge or a disabled person's bus pass, you may automatically qualify. This is a big deal because the rail card gives you and one adult companion a 1/3 discount on most train fares across England, Scotland, and Wales, covering advanced tickets, anytime tickets, and off-peak tickets in both standard and first class. On average, people who take up this rail card save around £126 a year, and it costs just £20 for 1 year or £54 for 3 years. If you already have a Blue Badge, you do not need to go through a separate assessment. Your existing evidence, such as a copy of the front and back of your badge, or a letter from the DVLA, or a health professional confirming you are unable to drive on medical grounds, can be used to support your application. And there is more coming. From September 2026, the eligibility is expected to expand even further to include people with long-term or degenerative health conditions and forms of neurodiversity that have a substantial impact on someone's ability to travel by train. The exact evidence required for these categories is still being finalized, so if this applies to you, it is worth keeping an eye on official updates closer to the date rather than assuming you already qualify. Now, here is what you need to understand about Blue Badge eligibility itself, because the core rules have not changed, but it is worth a refresher. You automatically qualify for a Blue Badge if you are aged 3 or over and at least one of the following applies to you. You receive the higher rate mobility component of disability living allowance. You receive personal independence payment and have scored 8 points or more under the moving around activity, or you have been awarded 10 points specifically for being unable to undertake any journey because it would cause overwhelming psychological distress. You are registered blind or severely sight impaired, or you have received a qualifying lump sum under the Armed Forces and Reserve Forces Compensation Scheme, along with a certified permanent and substantial walking disability. Beyond these automatic categories, many people are also assessed and approved through a local authority assessment, even if they do not fall into one of these boxes. So it is always worth applying if you believe your mobility is significantly affected, even if you are not sure you tick every box. A Blue Badge gives you more than just closer parking. It typically comes with a 100% discount on the Central London congestion charge after registering with Transport for London, though a small registration fee applies. It can offer toll concessions on certain UK bridges and tunnels, and depending on your circumstances, it may also support a full exemption from vehicle tax or a 50% reduction. Blue Badges usually last up to 3 years, and you can apply or renew directly through the government website. Now, for the part I want you to pay close attention to, if you currently receive personal independence payment, because this affects your Blue Badge indirectly. The Department for Work and Pensions is currently reviewing how PIP mobility assessments work, with that review expected to complete around autumn 2026. Stricter eligibility rules are likely to affect new applicants from late 2026 onward. Importantly, officials have confirmed that these changes will not affect Blue Badge travel concessions for people who are already receiving PIP and related benefits. If you are an existing claimant, your current support stays in place for now. But if you are planning to apply for PIP for the first time later this year, be aware that the assessment criteria could be tightening, so gather strong medical evidence and do not leave your application until the last minute. So here is what I want you to take away from all of this. If you have any health condition that could affect your driving, even something you think is minor, check the DVLA's list of notifiable conditions and report it properly, because the cost of not reporting is far higher than the inconvenience of reporting. If you are over 60, keep your medical paperwork organized and your contact details current, because reviews are becoming more proactive, not less. And if you or someone you care for holds a Blue Badge, go and check your eligibility for the Disabled Person's Rail Card right now, because that is a genuinely simple way to save real money starting today, with even more support on the way in September. These rules affect millions of people across the UK, and they are only going to keep evolving through the rest of 2026. So staying informed is not optional anymore, it is essential. If this video helped you understand where things stand, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, because I will be tracking every one of these updates as they happen and breaking them down in plain English right here on my channel. Turn on notifications so you never miss the next warning that could affect your license, your wallet, or your independence. Thank you for watching, take care of yourselves out there, and I will see you in the next one.